Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
My name is Javier Peña Valdez.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Valdez. Mr. Valdez, you are here on a Superior Court new case and on a Buckeye Municipal Court warrant. In your new case, sir, I find probable cause for the allegation of one count of aggravated DUI.
Yes.
Because your license was previously suspended or revoked for a DUI. It's a Class 4 felony. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a status conference July 25th, 8:31 a.m. Preliminary hearing July 29th, 8:31 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. Sir, I am setting bond in the amount of $2,500 in this case. You have a $2,000 bond in your Buckeye warrant case. So total bond is $4,500. It is a secured appearance bond. You can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral, which would be $450. If you pay your bond, you will be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates. You'll also see pretrial services for supervision, and beginning on your first court date, you will start drug and alcohol testing and monitoring. You have the standard conditions and restrictions of release, plus you're not to possess or consume any alcohol. Then, Mr. Valdez, regarding your Buckeye Municipal Court warrant, this is for liquor while being under 21 years of age, a Class 2 misdemeanor, and I've appointed you an attorney regarding the bond issue only. You have an arraignment hearing at the Buckeye Municipal Courthouse, July 24th, 1 p.m. I'm affirming bond in the amount of $2,000 with those same conditions and restrictions of release as I stated earlier. Mr. Valdez, do you have any questions?
That ticket for the one in Buckeye, I can pay it off basically, right, and I'll go away. Because that's what they told me.
Well, that may be, I don't know the full details of it.
Yeah.
It's a $2,000 bond. In order to be released, you have to pay that, and then they may apply it directly. I don't know the details.
Yes, well, I called probably a month ago or so when I was going through it again. They told me just pay the ticket so we won't give you a warrant basically. Because whenever I get caught up by anybody else, like sheriff or anything, they'll be like, oh, this warrant's for this. Well, you got to pay this $200 and it'll go away and you won't have a warrant. Is that possible or?
Well, so you have a bond.
Yeah, for one.
Right. So if you pay, so it's a combined $4,500. If you pay that $2,000.
Okay.
I believe they will apply it to it. I don't know if it makes the ticket go away.
Yeah.
I don't know the details of it. Again, that's between you and the judge out there.
Okay, cool.
All right. Any other questions, sir?
Where do I do a bail bond? So I can get.
There will be phones and contact information for bail bonding companies available in the chat.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Kevin Rivera and then Sean Horace will be on deck. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Kevin Rivera,
Thank you, Mr. Rivera. Mr. Rivera, you're here on a Superior Court new case. I find probable cause for the allegations, one count of aggravated assault of an officer, a Class 6 felony, one count of failure to obey a police officer, a Class 2 misdemeanor. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a status conference July 25th, 8:31 a.m., preliminary hearing July 29th, 8:31 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. Mr. Rivera, I am setting bond in the amount of $2,500. That is a secured appearance bond, meaning you can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral, which would be $250. If you pay your bond, you'll be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates. You must comply with supervision, and you must comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. In addition, you're not to return to the scene of the alleged crime. You're not to initiate contact with any alleged victims, complainants, or witnesses, or have any physical contact with any alleged victims. You're also not to possess any weapons, and you must submit to DNA testing at the arresting police department. Mr. Rivera, do you have any questions?
Yeah. To be honest, all this is, I don't know how to explain it, but I just been going through a lot, and that wasn't my intention to hurt the officer. And I also have a job interview, because I lost my job 2 weeks ago, and I have a job interview coming up, and I don't want to miss on that. And I was thinking, all that was because of my anger. Do you recommend any anger classes?
So there's a lot of good anger management classes available in the community. I mean, there's information available online, or you could reach out to various, like I said, community service agencies. I don't have one I'd necessarily that I'm aware of that I'd recommend.
Is there a way to do I keep the bond? Am I going? There's no way nothing going back.
No, so I'm going to keep the bond in place.
Well, that's my first offense as an adult. I haven't done nothing. My juvenile, I already finished that. My first offense as an adult. I've been trying to be a
Yeah,
good
so
man.
Mr. Rivera, the state constitution requires me to set a bond based on a number of factors, one of which is public safety as well as victim safety. So you were asked multiple times to remove yourself from a roadway. You didn't do that. So then when officers were arresting
I
you,
did remove
then
myself.
you kicked one in the stomach.
I didn't kick it in the stomach. I kicked him right. I kicked him right here on the side, right, barely.
Okay. Well, but either way, I mean,
Yeah,
kicking
so
an officer.
He's overreacting in the stomach. I didn't kick him in the stomach.
Oh, okay. There's not a big difference to me of whether you're kicking an officer in the stomach or whether you're kicking an officer in the leg is the issue. So
I'm not going to be released.
no, you have to pay the $2,500 bond to be released.
And how's that?
So if you can, a friend or family member can pay it for you, or
cash?
there will be bail bonding companies and contact information, bail bonding company contact information and phones available to you.
So it can be online only? Or
It can what?
Can it be cash? Can I turn the bond to cash, or is it online?
Yeah, I believe you can pay it cash. You can talk to the officers about how that works. I don't know the exact details.
Mm-hmm.
Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Rivera.
Thank you.
Sean Horace and then Jamise Dixon will be on deck.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Oh, 12.
You're on a Superior Court failure to appear warrant. You have a status conference July 25th, 8:31 a.m. Preliminary hearing July 29th, 8:31 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. Mr. Horace, I am setting bond in the amount of $1,500, or affirming the bond warrant, as it were. It's secured appearance. You can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral, which would be $150. If you pay your bond, you'll be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates and promising to comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. Plus, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol. You also must submit to fingerprinting at the arresting police department. Mr. Horace, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Jamise Dixon and then Vincent Rodriguez will be on deck. Good afternoon, ma'am. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Jamise Nicole Dixon.
Dixon. Ms. Dixon, you are here on 2 Superior Court probation violation warrants, 4 alleged violations of terms 4 and 5, and I've appointed you an attorney. You have a probation hearing scheduled July 26th, 8:30 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. I am affirming bond. It's in the amount of $550 in each of these. So it's a total bond of $1,100. Secured appearance means you can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral. 10% of $1,100 would be $110. If you pay that bond, or pay your bond, you'll be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates and promising to comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. Plus, you're not to possess any weapons, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol. You must submit to fingerprinting at the arresting police department, and you must contact your probation officer within 72 hours of release. Ms. Dixon, do you have any questions?
I've done all of that. I was released. I just was picked up on the same warrant before, let's say, about 100 days ago. I served 90 days in jail. I was released on July the 12th. I went to Unhooked Recovery.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 4 days there. I had Shanna and Haley in the office with me when I told them that I was leaving because I just found out that my son had been murdered in Tempe off of Scottsdale Road. He was shot twice in the head. I was only gone 1 day and checked myself into R&R Recovery. I've been in R&R Recovery ever since. I have not missed a day. I've been in recovery ever since. I've had 100 days sober. I would like the opportunity to continue with my treatment. I'm starting my anger management, getting my anger management certificate within a week after Monday. I'm missing out on our Christian camping trip because of this. I don't even understand why I have a warrant. Because they knew that I was leaving. I told them that, and I stayed in contact with both Shanna and Haley. Now, they did not reciprocate, but I have proof to allow me to be able to leave today and come back to court, and I could show proof that I have 27 messages that I have sent to Ms. Shanna with no response regarding where I'm at and the house that I was going to, a sober living house. It's a little bit better environment because now I have a 5-year-old stepdaughter who's going to be allowed to come to that house to spend a couple hours a weekend with me now that her dad's been murdered. And I would like to continue that, please. I beg of you.
Yeah. So I guess the issue that I have, ma'am, is you're asking me to do things I can't do.
No,
and so
maybe that.
So I can't change. I can't allow you to go move someplace when you've been reinstated on probation multiple times, and so.
I'm already there. I live there.
Well, no, you're supposed to be at Unhooked Recovery.
Right, but I let her know that I had to leave because I just had found out that my fiance was murdered. I had to figure out what's going on with our kid. So Unhooked said I could not come back for 30 days. I let Shanna know this is very important. I have to leave. What's the least amount of time that I could spend here? She said, well, technically you're only obligated to fulfill the length of your remaining of your sentence. Well, I was released on, my original date was July 13th. So that one day, now granted, I'm not trying to say that I'm only supposed to spend one day in recovery and expect to get a pass, no. But I told her that as soon as I figured out what was going on with our daughter, I was going to check myself into same day even. Just make sure she was safe. She just lost her dad. Her mom died of an OD 3 years ago. I'm the only mother figure that she even knows. Just want to make sure that little girl is safe.
Well,
that's all my main goal was. But like I said, I immediately
I understand, Ms. Dixon. Here's the issue, though, is that. Again, here's the problem is that you've had probation reinstated so many times already.
I didn't even know I had a warrant. I didn't even know I was doing anything wrong.
But I guess, ma'am, I guess that doesn't make a lot of sense because you're on probation. You know you can't just move without talking to the PO about where you're going and what the plan is.
PO was in the office when I told her. Both Haley and Shanna was in there. She said, I can't tell you I can't tell you that you have to stay. I can't tell you to go. You're a grown woman. You can make your own decisions. There was nothing legal talked about. I didn't know that once I left Unhooked that I was going to get a warrant. That was never discussed. I asked her if that was going to happen. She said, well, technically your only obligation was to fulfill the remainder of her sentence. And I said, well, she didn't know that they had only allowed me 1 day early. But when I said, well, that was January 13th, she said, well, let me find out what's going on, and I'll get back with you. Asking questions, did you find out any information yet? I'm in R&R Recovery. This is the address. This is Igor. This is his name. I gave her all the information, asked her to come see me. Because he is under he's under the impression he's under the approved list. So can you please come see me, come check it out, make sure that this is okay. I have a home also that I would like for you to come by and check out as well. She never said anything to me. But I just wanted to make sure I was still in treatment. That was the main thing. I was to stay in treatment, don't deviate from treatment. Because my sobriety means everything to me, especially now that I'm end up having this little girl that I'm end up having to take care of once I get myself together. And I want to finish this program. I didn't have the insurance for the program. The man gave me a grant and paid for it out of his pocket for me to be able to complete this program. I just don't want it to all be for nothing. Well,
yeah. So, Ms. Dixon, again, like I'm saying, the problem here is, you've had your probation reinstated so many times, and it just seems to me that the issue that, at least this time, that you're running into is that you decided that there was a situation that you needed to go take care of that was more important than staying in compliance with what probation was telling you to do. And the problem is that anytime you do that, so you want to help somebody, you want to help a family member, whatever the case may be, anytime that you say, well, so probation's going to need to take second, it's going to need to wait, then you're putting your opinion about things above probation, and then you end up back here.
I didn't see it that way. I was
No,
devastated.
I understand, ma'am, I understand, but that's the problem, is that then creates these situations. And so, again, unfortunately, and I'm not seeing in probation notes that there's any sort of recent, contact or discussions or things like that, so.
We were just sitting at the table together.
Yeah.
I'm sad that that's not in there, because that's not fair to me, because you came to see me and I told you that I was going to leave. That should have been notated on my file.
Well, again, and what I'm seeing in here was that you left Unhooked Recovery.
Again, I'm not denying that, but one day later, I admitted myself to R&R Recovery on 40th Street in McDowell.
Okay, but
so
again, you knew you weren't supposed to leave Unhooked, then you decide you go to another recovery, and that's the problem, ma'am, is that you're deciding that you know what's best. And I'm not going to necessarily disagree with you. Maybe you do know what's best, but when you're on probation, you've got to do what the probation officer is requiring of you. Otherwise, you end up in here.
I understand, sir. May I ask to at least consider the ankle monitor so I can at least...
Unfortunately, I'm not able to do an ankle monitor. Only the probation judge can.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to keep the bonds in place.
Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Dixon. Good luck to you. Vincent Rodriguez and then Daniel Cosma will be on deck. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Yes, sir. It's Vincent Rodriguez.
Mr. Rodriguez, you're here on a Superior Court probation violation warrant. This is for failure to appear. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a probation hearing July 26th, 8:30 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. I'm affirming bond. It is a cash-only bond, the amount of $1,000. If you pay your bond, you will be released, and then you're promising to go to court on all of your court dates. You're also promising to comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. Plus, you're not to possess any weapons, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol, and you must contact your probation officer within 72 hours of release. Mr. Rodriguez, do you have any questions?
Yes, I just started a new job, and I told him that I called them and I told them that I had that $1,000 bond, and I asked them if they could help me with it. They said they probably couldn't do the 1,000, but they would be willing to help me with the 500, and I told them I would ask the judge, and I told them I would promise to appear, and I know probably a little bit with the FTA, but with a new job, and I can't afford, they'll help me with the 500. If there's any way that you could reduce it to 500 or at least 750, sir, I would really help, and I could continue with my work. I could continue with job. That would help with my probation. Please, Your Honor. That's all I have to ask.
All right, sir, I'll switch it to a $750 bond.
Praise the Lord. Thank you.
Cash only. So again, July 26th, 8:30 a.m. Make sure you get in touch with your probation officer.
Thank you, Judge.
72 hours. You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Rodriguez. All right, Daniel Cosma and then Charles Gonzalez will be on deck. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Daniel J. Kozma, 0.
Thank you, Mr. Kozma. Mr. Kozma, you are here on 2 Superior Court probation violation warrants. These are for alleged violations of terms 3, 4, 5, and 15. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a probation hearing scheduled July 26th, 8:30 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. I'm affirming bond amount of $750 in one warrant, $500 in the other. Total bond is $1,250. Secured appearance means you can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral, which would be $125. If you pay your bond, you will be released, and I'm promising to go to court on all of your court dates and promising to comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. Plus, you're not to possess any weapons and must contact your probation officer within 72 hours of release. Mr. Kozma, do you have any questions? All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Charles Gonzalez and then Samantha Garcia will be on deck. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please pull your arms to your sleeves? Thank you. Good afternoon. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Charles Gonzalez, 3.
Gonzalez, you're here on a Superior Court probation violation warrant for alleged violations of terms 3 and 13. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a probation hearing scheduled July 26th, 8:30 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. I'm affirming bond amount of $500 at secured appearance. You can pay that directly or work with a bail bonding company. They generally require 10% plus collateral. It's less than $1,000 though, so I don't know what their terms would be. And if you pay your bond, then you're promising to go to court on all of your court dates. You'll be released, and you're promising to comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. Plus, you're not to possess any weapons, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol. You must submit to fingerprinting at the arresting police department, and you must contact your probation officer within 72 hours of release. Mr. Gonzalez, do you have any questions? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Before I see Ms. Garcia, I have a DUI warrant I need to resolve, so we'll take a brief recess. Good afternoon, ma'am. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Samantha Rosea Garcia.
Ms. Garcia, you're here on a Superior Court failure to appear warrant, and I've appointed you an attorney. You have a probation hearing July 26th, 8:30 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. I'm affirming bond in the amount of $300. It is a secured appearance bond, which technically means you can work with a bail bonding company. However, the number is so low, I don't believe any will work with that number, but I may be mistaken. Either way, if you pay your bond, you'll be released. You're then promising to go to court on all of your court dates, and you're promising to comply with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. Plus, you're not to possess any weapons, you're not to possess or consume any alcohol. You must submit to fingerprinting at the arresting police department, and you must contact your probation officer within 72 hours of release. Ms. Garcia, do you have any questions?
Yes, I went on the 17th to squash the warrant, and my attorney, John Teradash, said that he had set a motion for it to be squashed. I'm not sure why that they still picked me up, saying that the warrant was still active.
Well, just because a motion to quash is filed does not mean that that it's granted. So in fact, it was not granted, but it looks like a hearing was set for it.
Yeah, correct, on the 9/03. Yeah, so that's when they told
on
me.
August 1st. So let's see here.
If there's any way that we could take away the bond or lower it.
Yeah, so here's what I'll do, Ms. Garcia.
I didn't mean to miss the court date.
But that's okay. What I'll do because of that, just one moment. All right, so what I'll do is I'll release you on your own recognizance. That means you'll leave here in about 4 hours to 6 hours from now. Your court date, though, still is July 26th, 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
When you go to court that day, then you can ask them about August 1st, because I don't know whether that hearing is still going to go forward or not.
Okay.
Okay?
All right.
Do you have any questions?
No, thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you, Ms. Garcia. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. All right, Robert Orozco and then Jose Ramirez will be on deck. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Yeah, I'm Robert Orozco.
Thank you, Mr. Orozco. So you're here on a Superior Court new case. I find probable cause for the allegation of one count of possession or use of dangerous drugs, which is a Class 4 felony. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a status conference August 5th, 8:31 a.m., preliminary hearing August 7th, 8:31 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. Mr. Orozco, I do see, according to the probation notes, you have been in good contact with probation.
Yes,
so I'm going to release you on supervised release. So you're going to leave here in about 4 hours to 6 hours from now. Because you're being released, you're promising to go to court on all of your court dates, comply with supervision and the standard conditions and restrictions of release, plus you're not to possess any weapons. You must contact your probation officer within 72 hours of release and must submit to fingerprinting at the arresting police department.
Yes, sir.
Then, Mr. Orozco, because of the new arrest, you have an alleged Term 1 probation violation. I've appointed you an attorney. Probation hearings July 26th, 8:30 a.m., and I'm going to release you on your own recognizance in this case. So again, 4 hours to 6 hours, you should be on your way.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you, Mr. Orozco. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
Jose Ramirez, and then Mark Mainville will be on deck. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Jose Luis Ortega Ramirez.
Thank you, Mr. Ramirez. Mr. Ramirez, you are here on a Superior Court new case in an alleged Term 1 probation violation. In your new case, sir, I find probable cause for the allegations: 1 count of possession or use of dangerous drugs, a Class 4 felony; 1 count of possession or use of drug paraphernalia, a Class 6 felony; 1 count of criminal trespass, a Class 2 misdemeanor. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a status conference August 5th, 8:31 a.m., preliminary hearing August 7th, 8:31 a.m. at the downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. Mr. Ramirez, I do see that you have had good contact with probation. I'm going to release you on your own, supervised release. So you're going to leave here in about 4 hours to 6 hours from now. Because you are being released and you are promising to go to court on all of your court dates, comply with supervision and with the conditions and restrictions of release. In addition, you're not to return to the scene of the alleged crime, you're not to possess any weapons, not to possess or consume any alcohol, and must contact your probation officer within 72 hours of release. Also, you must submit to fingerprinting at the arresting police department. Regarding the alleged Term 1 probation violation, I've appointed you an attorney. You have a probation hearing July 26th, 8:30 a.m., downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. I'm releasing you on your own recognizance with those same conditions and restrictions of release. Mr. Ramirez, do you have any questions?
No, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Mark Mainville, and then Moises Estrada will be on deck. All right. Good afternoon, sir. Could you please state your name and provide your date of birth?
Mark Mainville, 11.
All right, thank you, Mr. Mainville. Mr. Mainville, you're here on a Superior Court new case, an alleged Term 1 probation violation. In your new case, sir, I find probable cause for the allegations: 1 count of possession or use of dangerous drugs, and 1 count of possession or use of narcotic drugs, both Class 4 felonies. Also, 1 count of possession or use of drug paraphernalia, which is a Class 6 felony. I've appointed you an attorney. You have a status conference August 5th, 8:31 a.m., preliminary hearing August 7th, 8:31 a.m. And Mr. Mainville, I am going to release you on supervised release. I think there's a few issues maybe with probation, but it looks like you have been overall in pretty good contact. So I want to recognize that. So again, because you're being released, you're promising to come to court on all your court dates, to comply with supervision and with the standard conditions and restrictions of release. In addition, you're not to possess any weapons. You must submit to the arresting police department for fingerprinting, and you must contact your probation officer within 72 hours of release. Then, Mr. Mainville, regarding your probation the alleged Term 1 probation violation, I've appointed you an attorney. You have a probation hearing July 26th, 8:30 a.m., downtown Phoenix Superior Courthouse. I'm releasing you on your own recognizance in this case with those same conditions and restrictions of release. So in about 4 to 6 hours, you should be on your way.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Mr. Mainville, you're welcome. Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am. No, sir.
All right. Thank you, sir. Good luck
Thank
to you. Yes.